Dog is. Peacock 45 with a golden boy from Henry Repeating Arms. Yes, you have requested it, and here we have one. Yes, a viewer lent us this, and we certainly appreciate that. This is a very, very popular lever action these days. You see a lot of them around, see a lot of them at gun shows, gun shops, and in people's hands at the range. I'm sure of that, because they're really a prolific company. Let's lay it down here and take a look at it. It's a gorgeous gun. There are not 49 different companies, you know, making lever guns, and this happens to be one that's doing a good job making a lot of them. This thing comes in various calibers, I guess lengths. Comes in a round barrel, an octagon barrel. Comes with a brass-looking frame with a regular frame. So just a lot of different configurations, and it's not a big secret. Most people are familiar with them. I have fired one. It's been several years ago, and a friend of mine had one, and his boys and I, and John was with us. I think we were all shooting the thing on his farm, and it seemed to do really, really well. But that has been at least 10 years, maybe longer, and they're just really going strong. I looked at their website. They offer these things in just all sorts of configurations, as I say. 44 Magnum in the larger ones, I can call them the big boy. This is a golden boy, but 44 Magnum, 45 Colt, 357 Magnum. They even offer a 4570. I noticed. I didn't know that. So look at the wood on this one. Isn't that beautiful? The sun is messing with us, but there's a gorgeous piece of walnut on that thing. I don't think they all are that pretty, but this one is really, really good looking gun, and it's American walnut, and that's one of the attractions of the gun for a lot of folks. They're an American company. I think, as I understand, everything in the gun is the rifle is American made. So that's an attraction to a lot of folks, and it's kind of nice that somebody is making these. Now that said, a lot of people have the impression this is kind of like a Colt single action Army. You know, it's been made since 1873. This is really not the gun Tyler Henry designed. You know, when he was working for Oliver Winchester back in the 1850s, early 1860s. You know, the Henry rifle. Okay, but it is similar. It has the look. It definitely does. But this is a newer company, and this gun looks a lot like it. It's not a reproduction of the Henry rifle. Just get that out of the way. If you want a reproduction of the Henry rifle that was used actually in the Civil War to some extent, and was the predecessor to the, I guess, the 1866 yellow boy with a brass frame, and then of course the 1873. Those guns all shared some similarities, but they're different from this gun. You can get reproductions of those guns, and even of the Henry, as I said. This is not really a true reproduction of that exact gun, but it does look a lot like it. It really does, and has some of those characteristics. It's a good old lever gun. So we're not going to give Henry Repeating Arms a hard time, you know, for using the name. They're doing a good job, and they're offering lever guns. You know, these are great. They're so much fun. If you've never had a lever gun, you need to get one. Let me load this thing while I'm yakking at you. Now it's also not brass. It's they call it what, brass light or something, and it's as I understand. Why don't we try something? Let's try shorts just for the heck of it while we're messing around here, because we thought we'd shoot a few different things. And we haven't tried the shorts yet. I think we'll see if they function, but or they cycle. But it's some kind of a zinc alloy that the receiver's made of, and not any criticisms of it being weak or anything, I don't believe. And then this is I guess it's some proprietary formula. As you can see there, we loaded all those little shorts off camera to save a little time. Thing must hold 1,000,000 of them. I kept putting them in, emptied the container. It's supposed to hold 21. I didn't really count them, but it felt like 21, maybe 41. We'll see. Okay, when I fired one, so let's try something over there. Kind of fun too. It's almost like a suppressor. See where to hold this on that red plate. Probably have to hold a little bit higher. That's funny. I thought it was a dud. That's about as close as you folks can get to a suppressor if you don't want to go through all the paperwork, you know, and expense of a suppressor. Just get some 22 shorts. Let's try that pot over there on the barrel. I'll hold on top of it and see what happens. I think I hit it. Oh, that sounded like dirt. Oh, that sounded like barrel. Let's hold a little higher. Okay, come on now. Ah, there we go. I saw a chip fall out. Yes, I think I'm chipping away at it. Let's try something a little closer here, like this 2 liter or this 12 ouncer. Let's see what a short does to a 2 liter. Well, oh, create a fountain. I don't get the guy's gun wet full of soft drink. Let's see, we probably have 20 more shots. We'll try one of these close pots here on top there. Ooh. Fuck it. Well, you know, I don't know the sights well enough, but let's see if I can pick off that 12 ounce peeking out of that pot there. There we go. Open him up for the bugs. Oops. You really can't tell much difference when it snaps on an empty chamber between that and when it fires. So, well, we got a little drink over here, didn't we? Okay, pretty neat. So that's one of the another versatility of the 22. Just pretty cool. By the way, I was firing stingers on the first round when we opened here. Forgot to mention that. So those were, you might have noticed, those are pretty warm. They're what, 1640 feet per second. And they truck on out there. Most of what we shoot are, you know, standard CCIs now. You've heard me talk about that, trying to use better ammo. And we have some of these little babies. Now these are essentially just the cap. Let's try a couple of those. I'll just put a couple in, or a few. And they're even lighter than the shorts, I think. So all kinds of possibilities with the 22. You know, unless it's a semi-automatic, not quite as versatile because, you know, they can be a little finicky in terms of what they feed. But if you have a 22 revolver or a lever gun, and the lever gun can be, you know, finicky in terms of what it will cycle sometimes, but there's a few more options. So we'll try a few of these. You know, if you just want to give your ears a rest, I'll take my ears off here. We've got the lever up, nothing in the chamber. The one thing about a tubular magazine is you feel a little bit less safe because you end up, it's very difficult not to have your finger, you know, in front of the muzzle to some extent, and that's one of the advantages of a magazine fed gun. But as long as you're safe, you're careful, there's nothing in there, and see, when you do the first cycle, nothing goes in, and the second time it goes in. All right, so let's see how mighty these are. I think I'll try it on one of these clay pots here. Now this will be really quiet. Yeah, still breaks it. There you go. If you basement shooters, this offers some possibility. Oh, I see a bowling pin. I see a little window of opportunity between the tree limbs. Oop, knocked him off. Oh, and there's a 2 liter there beside him. I wonder what one of these will do to him. Yeehaw! Creates a nice fountain. Oh, that's neat. Let's see if we can get one over to that big pot we were working on. Yeah, boy, that really dropped. I was holding high. I think I got it, maybe. It's using Kentucky windage, of course. I think it's legal to use that in Tennessee. I hear it hitting it, I think. Okay. See if I can put one of these on the red plate. Boom. Oh, we haven't shot the gong yet, speaking of that. Oop. That was even too low of velocity on that one. That was a blank, right? Okay, let's get some regular ammo in here. This is what we usually shoot, just a standard CCI. And, you know, what we got? We got 1235 feet per second, 40 grain ammo. This is what I've gone to for most of my 22 shooting. As I mentioned earlier, I think in a video, especially in videos, I just don't want to have all the hassles and malfunctions and misfeeds any more than is necessary. So we're going to generally use CCI ammo most of the time. And this is how you load a tubular magazine if you've never owned one. A little bit old school, I guess, like an old Model 60 Marlin and many others. My bolt action, Ward's Western Field, they all load the same way. So you want the action open, and then you turn it over, and your first close, you know, doesn't really pick anything up, and the next time it will. And now that we noticed that earlier, let me show you what happened. It seems like when you fill it maybe a little too full, I don't know, pull it back a little bit. It didn't want to, it was kind of aimed upward. I'm just doing it again, okay. So I'm not sure what that is. It's good ammo. I seem to want to do it on the first round, maybe even the second one. Let me get my ears in. Let's work on that pot some more over there. Now we have some real ammo in here. Yeah, it's real ammo. Don't have to hold high. I think I can hold right on. Nice. Fun. Let's go to the gong. You know, one thing I didn't mention, this thing has a buttery smooth action. It really is. It's smoother than the Marlin. You know, I love the Marlin 22s, but this is actually smoother. It's really buttery. There's just no doubt about that. It seems like a nice gun. I have researched these a little bit off and on, and I don't see much negative about them. Okay, you chime in what your story is on them. Many of you probably have one. Most people like them, and most people get really good service out of them. You just over and over and over, you hear about you know, how they work. They just tend to work. All American made. People like them, and they work. You see some arguments and criticisms of the materials used. I saw on a forum somewhere people arguing about what the receiver's made of, at length, different things. It's not real brass, you know, and all that. But that's how they're able to, you know, hold the price line on them and all that. So, you know, there's a trade-off with everything. And also with real brass, you know, after about well, 1 or 2 trips to the range, you know what happens to brass. It gets very tarnished looking and doesn't stay this shining. I think this might hold its look a little better. Now I put 1 extra in there. I didn't really mean to, probably. I think that's where I get that weird feed on the first round. Let me see. Yeah, I was going to do it again. It doesn't want that. I think that last round in there maybe. I don't know. Just have to hammer down. Just have to check. Yeah, there might be something. I don't have the manual on it. There might be something in there about that. I don't know. But after that, it seems to work just fine. Now we have some more targets here that need to be chewed up. Like right here. Let's cock the hammer. It might work. All right. Nice. Ah, here's a tin can. Boom. And what else do we? Oh, there's a 12 ounce I didn't see there almost. Pow. Go to the gong. red plate. Sun's coming in on me here, playing with me a little bit. It's coming in from the west today for some reason. I noticed it's been setting in the west lately, so it's a little bit of an obstacle there. So anyway, I don't know, what else do we want to shoot? Anything? It is a cool gun. What have I forgotten to tell you about this thing? Beautiful walnut. Holds, I think, 16 long rifle and 21 shorts, I believe is what the literature says, the website. And again, it's not real brass. It is a brass light, I think they call it. And it looks like really shiny, well cared for brass. And I read too that, you know, there's your serial number, and that's not a part of the receiver in terms of the cover, that if you got that all scratched up, you know, from battles and, you know, that sort of thing, you could you can actually replace that. It could just be, you know, order one. It could be sent to you, you know, because it's not you know, an FFL issue. There's no serial number on it, and it's a cover, you know, more or less for the receiver. So, you know, if that's something of importance to you, and this is the Octagon Barrel version, of course. This is one of the, I'd say, the premium versions, you know, with the brass or the brass look and the Octagon Barrel. Those are more expensive to make. And then you got really nice wood on it and everything. And a smooth gun. I'm going to shoot just a couple more rounds, and we're going to fire at something here fairly quickly. And I'm just going to put about 10 in, and we'll see if that cures the issue there I was getting occasionally with a really full magazine. Let's see. I know I have some older 22s. You can cram as many in there as you want, and actually an extra one, it seems like, and it'll still work. Might be hard to get the plunger down, but that's, I'm going to stop right there. Let's see if that makes a difference. And of course, this is a fairly new gun, and the owner has had really good service out of it. He said he's just not had problems with it. Put my ears in here. We'll take a shot at something here, maybe shoot fast. And I've got it here in the shade. I'm going to hold it up like this, make sure it's not a gravity issue. There we go. Okay, so I think it was my trying to get that extra round in, possibly, that created the issue. Come some motorcycles, all right. Go gong hunting. Oh, the cowboy. Oh yeah. If you have not experienced the joys of a lever gun, you need to. You really do. Semi-autos and fully autos, select fires, and all those are fun, but these are special. They really are a lever gun, and this is a nice one. I've had a little bit of a mental block against these, I'll have to say, because I'm a bit of a traditionalist. You know, if I'm going to have a Henry rifle, I want a real Henry, or one that's made exactly like a Henry. So maybe I'm a little too elitist in that regard. A good old 22 rifle that works, looks like a Henry, an original Henry, you know, to some extent. It actually looks more like an 1866 Yellow Boy, really. But you know, ain't all bad, okay? And especially if it's made well, and this seems to be made well. You know, some of you know more about them than I do probably. From what I have seen and heard, people are getting good service out of these. They're good looking guns, and you know, they are in New Jersey. They're based in New Jersey, so somehow they're allowing them to make these in New Jersey. That's pretty, I guess, because they're lever guns, maybe. I don't know. So, pretty nice gun, and anytime you can go out on a pretty day, fall day like this, and enjoy a lever gun, you know that life is good.